Welcome back, Jade Nova here, and here to introduce you to Transformers Season 1. And how the rundown of this is going to be, I'm just going to run down the few episodes that I find were interesting, or just go over it as, not as a whole, to get my general feel for Transformers Season 1, and try not to give it too many spoilers, because I want to introduce this as to many old or new trans fans as possible to see where it all came from. Yes, it is cheesy, yes, it is campy, yes, it is the 80s, and you know what? I love it. Now, here we go. As the three-parter of More Than Meets the Eye ended, after its positive reaction, we actually got a whole season of Transformers. And in here we start off as Episode 4, or Episode 1 of Season 1. It is still kind of Episode 4, because the miniseries is kind of clumped together into Season 1, so here we go. Episode 4, Transport to Oblivion. Much like the same equivalence of saying that the Chocobo is eternal to all Final Fantasy incarnations, so is the Space Bridge to Transformers, and Transport to Oblivion introduces the Space Bridge, in which its main purpose is to transport large items to Cybertron. And other incarnations, like say from Armada, was just a simply transport device or transporter. It's just one big giant transporter, and that was the whole scheme of the plot. Episode 5, roll for it. Completely don't remember what happened in that. I do apologize. Divide and Conquer. I do remember some few things in there that I thought was quite interesting, but still kind of drawing a blank. Episode 7, Fire in the Sky. And one thing you do find with these Transformer episodes, I'd like to point out that some of the best episodes, I will point out the writers that have written the good stuff. So, here we go. Number 7, Fire in the Sky, written by Alfred A. Pagel, who introduced us to probably one of my favorite Transformer characters, and one of the characters that was met with some controversy due to his image and name. Because of his original character design for the toy, it is a Matacross suit. I am not a big fan or very familiar with Matacross or the story. All I know is Jew Wario's review of Do You Remember Love? But with great title, Do You Remember Love? Anyway, Fire in the Sky does introduce us to Skyfire, original toy of Jetfire, but personally I love the name Skyfire because that just sounds so much cooler to me. In here we do find out he was a former, before the war, he was a scientist and good friend with Starscream. But they do have quite of a falling out in that. Next episode, SOS Dinobots, and here we are introduced to major fan favorites, the Dinobots, the 3 original Dinobots, Grimlock, Sludge, and Slag. So many S's, I'm having a stroke. Another S. Of course we all know that Wheeljack created the Dinobots with no brains, or simple brains as that were, but I would like to say it was just the simple things they did scrounge around for parts and they didn't have much for the brains, because they did crash land. But SOS Dinobots was a decent episode and I quite enjoyed it. Of course Grimlock, the leader, Sludge, the stupid one, and Slag, the psychotic one. Grimlock, T-Rex, Sludge, Longneck. I'm sorry if I have to go down to the terms of Land Before Time, but I have no idea what it's called. Brontosaurus, I think. And the 3-horn Slag, or Triceratops, if you will. Next episode, Fire on the Mountain. Fire on the Mountain was interesting because this is really, we do see that the Transformers go to a very tropical location, which I think it was near south of Mexico, where they go to an Aztec temple because Megatron wants to harness the magical energy to make a super laser. That's what Megatron wants to do. He wants to suck up your energy and get super laser. Next episode of that, number 10, War of the Dinobots. War of the Dinobots was a quite interesting one. Very major conflicts. The Dinobots are very reluctant to work with the Autobots, so we came up with 2 more Dinobots that were Swoop and Snarl, Pterodactyl, and Stegosaurus. Pretty good episode. And after that, we got another multi-parter, kind of like very much not so different from Star Trek, which, regular science fiction. Well, I find Transformers to be the pulp sci-fi. I do know that they were marketing toys to us, but I'd like to be a little bit more naive and say that at least they're actually trying to do something for kids, just not smash toy into ground, or they weren't just blatantly whoring this stuff out, like saying, buy toys, buy Xbox 360s or whatnot. But I do find that they were given somewhat of a narrative and purpose for these toys to do something. More so and more interesting than G.I. Joe. Episode 11, The Ultimate Doom, Part 1, Brainwash. So, Megatron is out and gets himself a mad scientist and asks mad scientist to brainwash humans for slaves for hauling and shipping energon. Sounds neat. And Part 2, The Search, is really much that Spike is forced to go to Cybertron and find a cure for the brainwash abilities that has affected his father, Sparkplug Witwicky. And Part 3, The Revival, is the ultimate climax of saying that Megatron wants to use the space bridge to transport Cybertron and Earth's, on Earth, or near Earth, and so that will create a huge clusterfuck of gravitational pull that will explode the Earth and cause residual energy that they will vacuum up and power Cybertron for eternity. What I just said there is probably better than any plot that Michael Bay has been involved of, or the writers of Transformers and Revenge of the Fallen. Countdown to Extinction, if I am correct about that episode, it was that they needed some element because they were off Cybertron too long and it was not indigenous to their planet. As much as that we need air to breathe, they need this element. I think that was 14. 15, The Plague of the Insecticons. The Insecticons, how I love the... so many jokes I could make about Insecticons eating the cornfields in Nebraska, and Dustin have to find them off. Dookaloops, 1993. Trying to make that in my own personal meme, if you will. And 16, the final episode, Heavy Metal War. Great title. Another thing about old TV show titles opposed to other Japanese styles, but something like Inuyasha saying something, the magical temple of the weeping princess of the fire mountain, just like it's a fucking paragraph for name of some episodes on Inuyasha. Just saying that's the only show I had a problem with the titles, because some of them are just so unruly. But something as simple as, say, Fire in the Sky, City of Steel, Traitor, The Immobilizer, something like that, I do find quite fascinating. Another thing I quite fascinating, some of my favorite Autobots in the show are quite, let's say, geeky, I like, or not as much geeky, but more technically inclined, as well as to, like, Wheeljack, Perceptor, and Ratchet. I like the gearheads in the show because I find that more interesting, as what kind of bullshit science fiction they're going to pull out their ass and just like, whatever, roll with it. Heavy Metal War first introduces us to Devastator and the Constructicons. The real Constructicons, not some kind of change into origami mess that looks like it was made by a helmet kid and which has testicles. Fucking Michael Bay. Anyway, besides that, that was Season 1. 16 parts, and stay tuned. Season 2 will be coming up shortly, and that is just unruly, that how Season 2 is. It's easily quadruple the size of Season 1. So as much on other shows like Teenage Mutant Turtles. One season will have 5 episodes, next season will have 60. It's just crazy like that in the 80s how they did that. At least when I get to Beast Wars, a lot of the episodes will be better, let's say, formatted in proportioned, if you will. And yeah, this is Jay Nova saying that may the forces of evil become confused on the way to your house. Bye.